we just shift the way that we think about hormone replacement therapy. And instead of thinking of it as just taking the lowest dose, minimal amount just to treat your hot flashes, which is what we do now, that's not what hormones are for. They're really a biohacking tool. Like, they're really the first thing you should be thinking about. It's one of the most natural things you can do is just replace the hormones that you used to make that protected you your whole life, protected you during pregnancy, helped you get pregnant, helped you recover. And then replacing those in the form that your body recognizes is the most natural thing you can do.
So just recently, the FDA announced that it's finally removing the black box warning, which is the most serious label a drug can carry from women's hormone replacement therapies. This means science is finally catching up to what many hormone experts have been telling us for years. And what this means for us is that the story that we were told about hormones gets to be completely rewritten. And that's what we're doing today. And I am joined by Dr. Sarah Daccarett. Not only is she a hormone expert and founder of Inner Balance, she is also known as a doctor who's changing women's healthcare and a really good friend of mine. So together we are unpacking what this new FDA update really means, what the latest research shows, and how you can finally make empowered, educated, informed decisions about your own body without fear, without confusion, and without guessing. So if you are a woman in midlife navigating menopausal symptoms, you have questions, or you're frustrated about your hormones, this conversation could be one of the most important ones you hear all year long. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, heck, grab a glass of wine. I don't care. Just take a deep breath and lean in. It's time to separate fear from fact and reclaim your balance from the inside out. Well, hey there, diet disruptors. We have big news in this podcast today, like big news. And I brought in the big guns to talk about the big news. So I am super excited that we've got Dr. Sarah Daccarett here, who is not only like an unbelievable hormone expert, she's also like my sister from another mister. I love her. And when I heard that the FDA announced that they were initiating the removal of this black box warning on our hormone replacement therapies, HRT, for menopause, Sarah was the first person I called, and I'm like, we need to talk about this. This is big news. And she's like, yes, let's do it. So hi.
Hi, thanks for having me. This is big news. This is so exciting.
This is so exciting. And you know how I actually heard about it first? Was on your social media. I'm like, look at her knowing all the news before everybody else does, of course. And so then it was like news article after news article, and it was like inundating my social media. It's like the algorithm knows this would be important to me. So you have to walk us through, like, this is a really big deal. So given your background, which you should share a little bit of your background, right? Like, just the hormone expert of all, like, if anybody's a woman, I'm like, you need to talk to Sarah Daccarett, like, hands down. And you're like the women's doctor for all women that, like, we don't get the type of doctors that we should and the expertise that we should. And you are that woman for all of us. So knowing what you know about hormones, and share a little of your background, why is this such a big deal?
Thank you. This is really nice of you. That was the intro. But it is a big deal because it's been decades in the making, and it never really should have been on the products to begin with. And we've, basically the regulatory body, the FDA, is catching up with the science. So in 2014, a panel was really petitioned to, like, hey, remove this black box warning. And it took that long. And they removed the warnings off the testosterone earlier, I think this year, last year. So that came first. And it's such a big deal because it never really should have been there. And it was scaring women away when they went to the pharmacy and they picked up their prescription and they saw this, really dangerous warning about heart disease and dementia and clotting and
Cancer.
And of course, you're not going to take something without kind of warning. The black box warning is the harshest warning that the FDA puts on products.
There's so many drugs I wish had more of a warning on it, but this is not one of them. Why were these warnings on there in the first place?
They were holdover. They were from the studies that showed progestin, which is a chemical that binds to the progesterone receptor. It's not a hormone. It's a man-made chemical. It's synthetic progestin. And these are still found in birth control today. This was actually what increased.
But that doesn't have the black box label.
That's for the black box label, it was there and it's staying there.
Yeah,
So it has to
yeah.
stay on the birth control. It has to stay on
Oh,
progesterone.
there's a black box label on birth control?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's something
Well, because
that's very
there's no informed consent on birth control. We don't tell women that it has these risks. We don't tell them that we're going to take their hormones. Like there's nobody tells anybody that birth control has these risks. But we
right,
talk about estrogen all day long, that it's going to kill
right.
you. I mean, but it doesn't. And so we've always had it backwards. And now finally, like the word's finally getting out. But the black box warning will stay on the birth control products where it would always belong. But even then, women shouldn't be concerned, younger women who are doing the birth control. The risk is small. It's considered very rare according to the WHO. So, the warning is there, but the risk is still very small. So, yeah, now the language will be more balanced. And it's not just local vaginal creams. So, at first, to the FDA, it sounded like they were just going to do it for the low dose vaginal creams, which are designed to only treat vaginal dryness. Okay, so it's like such a micro dose that it's only meant to treat that local area, like genitourinary symptoms or vaginal dryness. But they actually removed it for all products that are systemic. So that includes oral and transdermal and patches and the products like Oestra that we sell, which is systemic, which is really great because then now they're recognizing that it's, not dangerous and that it actually is protective. And we have more research coming out that shows that it reduces your chances of breast cancer, heart disease by 60% if started earlier.
Which so we need to go back to HRT 101 in a lot of ways because I was on the vaginal very, very, very low dose for a while. And that's when I met you. And you were like, you've got to be doing estrogen and progesterone. You've got to be doing Oestra, which is what you offer at Inner Balance. And when you started educating me and then educating my clients, we realized, okay, so there's a couple of different types of hormone replacement therapies, right? There's the synthetic and then there's the bioidentical, right? And that's what's so hard for people to really understand because I'll have women literally yesterday I was on a call with a woman who was just thinking about working with us and she's like, "Listen, my doctor wants to put me on HRT and I do not want to be on medication." And it's so interesting because I get that, right? Like, I don't want my clients on medication, but this is a very different kind of quote unquote medication that, I mean, everybody needs to talk to their doctor about it. But when I talked to you about it, it was like almost a no brainer as to why we are not on it. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. I agree. And I get that it's not a medication. It's the best kind though. It's regulated and it's natural. It's one of the most natural things you can do is just replace the hormones that you used to make that protected you your whole life, protected you during pregnancy, helped you get pregnant, helped you recover. And then replacing those in the form that your body recognizes is the most natural thing you can do. On the plus side, it's regulated. So they're prescription treatments. You know exactly what you're getting. When you order a supplement online, I mean, you don't know what's in that. The FDA, I mean, there's nobody checks to make sure what's in it is actually in it and then the dosing's in it. And so, and arguably, your body doesn't make herbs like turmeric or black cohosh, right? Your body does make these hormones. So you get it from a doctor, you get it regulated, you get it from a pharmacy, and you know what's in it. And so it's like the best of both worlds. You get this really natural product and it's regulated. So women need to kind of look at it that way rather than being on a medication because it's not a medication. It's not like a lipid lowering drug from a pharmaceutical company. This I could understand not wanting to be on your whole life or an antidepressant or something.
Right. And that's where this is where it's such a misconception. And this is why you do what you do at Inner Balance to educate women to really understand that this is a different category. And actually, I don't know that there's a lot that are as natural as a bioidentical hormone would be, like Oestra, for example, as well as regulated. Like you just said, the supplement world is the wild, wild west. I know, I own a supplement. Like, in order to get our supplement, Zyve 7, approved as NSF, which is like one of the highest certifications that you can get, it was so crazy expensive and so much work to do. And most people don't do it because you don't have to. But when you're talking about HRT and you're talking about this hormone that we're just replacing what we know naturally is going away, it's a no-brainer because it's a protectant.
It's a protection. And so the quote that the FDA said is that estrogen is one of the most effective longevity interventions for women. I mean, this is a very powerful statement because it shows that, like, we know. I mean, it's like I think they even compared it to antibiotics as the most life-saving thing that women can do. I mean, antibiotics and hormone. I mean, that's really like save your life. So, like the way we just shift the way that we think about hormone replacement therapy, and instead of thinking of it as just taking the lowest dose, minimal amount just to treat your hot flashes, which is what we do now, and wait until you're as old as possible to do it, and only do it for like a year just to get you through menopause. That's not what hormones are for. They're really a tool, a biohacking tool. Like they're really the first thing you should be thinking about. You don't need to be doing peptides and I would say peptides and the biohacking stuff is great. You can do saunas and cold plunges and all the other stuff. But to get the biggest bang for your buck and foundationally, hormones are the foundation. And once you lay that, that's 80, 90% of your biohacking or your longevity plan. And this is what should be done first. But everybody's doing it the opposite. They're doing all the biohacking peptides first. And then and with weight loss, what you do, it's like hormones don't make you lose weight, but you need them to lose weight. Like they need to be in place, and so it's like this is even foundational to even
I
to weight
know.
loss.
I always say weight gain or stubborn weight loss is a symptom of health and hormones. And so we can work on our health, right? And be doing all these things to become healthy, but it doesn't matter what you do. We cannot replace the estrogen that we're automatically losing because we're getting older. And if we're doing all the anti-aging types of creams and things, this should be the first one. This isn't a last resort. And this is why the black box label being removed is so important because you have known this. You have taught me this. You have taught thousands and thousands of women this, but it doesn't matter as much. It's almost like we felt like we had to be rogue or like almost like it was like a conspiracy theory that we were trying to like convince people of. And now that this comes off, it's like, okay, we don't have to fight so hard now. But it is a little frustrating that we have had to fight for as long as we've had to fight to be able to get this. But this is huge.
It should have never been on there. Like you're right. It never should have. For no good reason was it there. What like to put fear into like literally tens of millions of women for a long time, generation of women. And they still do like this. I think it'll take a few months and even then for women, but at least it won't be on their prescription. They were getting their prescription and then they were getting afraid because they saw this black box warning. And this just is fear mongering and now that's stopping. So this is really good.
And you and I have talked about like my girls, right? My girls are 19 and 20 years old, and we've already talked about this for them. And we know that hormone therapy can actually start well before menopause, and it carries so many benefits, including like, I mean, we know our bone health is at risk as we get older. We know metabolic disease, Alzheimer's, like everything to do with our health is impacted by our decreasing estrogen, our hormones. This is what's crazy to me, Sarah, though. When people talk about menopause as a diagnosis, like it's like a disease. And when we treat it like that, then the medication feels like
You're
it
treating it
is
like a medication.
treating a
And then
disease.
I only need to treat it for a short period of time and it'll go away.
Right.
But we need to
Right.
look at it as like aging. And when you're absolutely right. Like it's not like we don't tell men that when, we wait until they stop making sperm and then it's called andropause and then we treat that. We don't treat it. Like we're just like, hey, you have low testosterone, you're having these symptoms, we want to increase your quality of life, we'll give you testosterone. We need to like fast forward a decade. We are a decade behind, even just the way we think about hormones for women. So this was really great, but like we can even speed it up from here and really give women this knowledge and power that, hey, you can start early and prevent disease. And most of the diseases of aging are from inflammation, let's say, cancer.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so if most of the diseases of aging are from cancer or from, inflammation,
Yep.
hormones directly regulate the immune system. So the best thing you can do is boost your immune system, keep it really healthy. I mean, it is the
Yes.
core of longevity. And so
Yes.
do it in your
And this
30s.
is why you and I are so obsessed with what each other does, because you take on the hormone piece that honestly, while blood sugar regulation will wreak havoc on our hormones, it as we get older, we just know we are decreasing the amount of estrogen and progesterone that we are going to produce. It's just a fact. And whether I balance my blood sugar or not, that's not going to change. And so the two have to be done in tandem together, right?
Absolutely. Like, well, and I mean, so for example, one great example that kind of is GLP-1. This does not actually work without estrogen present. So even if like you're making it still, like you're able to make it, if you don't have the estradiol to basically modulate it, regulate it, and it won't work. So and then let's say you get older and you try to inject it or swallow it or take it like synthetically a GLP-1, it still won't work unless you have the estrogen present. So a lot of people are trying to do things with the blood glucose control or insulin lowering or anything that it won't work unless the hormones are present. And so, and then if you're on HRT, hormone replacement therapy, so let's say you do get on a good systemic treatment, and you're still kind of along a little bit of a roller coaster and you can't get stable, it's because your blood sugar is not stable. So they are definitely connected. And if you want to have that stability, you always have to be doing them both. So you don't think you get out of it if you get on hormone therapy and think, okay, now I don't have to worry about my blood sugar. I can potentially eat what I want and I should be. It doesn't. It actually will wreck your hormones, even if you're taking the hormones. So it's not just hormones that you're making. If I hope I'm making sense, because there's
Yeah.
you
Well,
women who fast, like, they'll notice their menopausal symptoms will come back even if they're on HRT. Or if
yes.
they're
I mean, this is the thing too, like, I'll have women that say to me, "Well, I'd really like to get my nutrition and all of that you teach on, in track so that maybe I won't have to go on HRT." And I'm like, "Oh, no. We want you on HRT too." Like, it's all part of the equation. And so I think that's what's so important. Now, this is what's so interesting. I told you this. I went to my doctor this year, and I told him I was on Oestra, which is the hormones that you actually created. And it was so funny because I have loved it. You and I talk all the time about it. It's an incredible product that I don't even you're the smartest person I know. You're not only a doctor, you're also an engineer, and it's just so crazy. So I want to talk a little bit about my doctor's reaction, but what makes Oestra so like freaking awesome?
what makes it so awesome
Yeah.
is that one, it's vaginal delivery is what makes Elestra so special. And so that you can get it systemically into the bloodstream. And I think most people, most doctors think that vaginal is only local. And it's because those products that we have on the market are designed to only be local. They are such a tiny dose, and the studies confirm that they don't get into the bloodstream. And it's because they're designed to do that. Oestra is designed to go right into the bloodstream. And when you do that, one, you avoid the liver. And anytime we can avoid the liver, we're going to get less side effects. And the second thing is if you have a uterus, you can take it if you don't have a uterus. But let's say you do have one. The uterus has the ability to metabolize it and make metabolites that are beneficial to women. They regulate the period, regulate bleeding. They even go to the central nervous system and help with depression. The uterus isn't just for pregnancy. It does stuff, which I know is kind of like weird, but we don't really think of it as an organ that's actively participating every day in our life. It's just we think it's
Especially as we get older.
especially the older, but even as we're aging and we're not in that pregnancy window. So allowing the uterus to make the metabolites is kind of probably what nature intended. If you think about it, the ovaries made the hormones, and then the uterus probably metabolized them, and that's where there's the progesterone is supposed to be. So this is the beautiful part about doing it this way is one, you want to mimic what nature probably did when we were younger. And then you want to give it in a way that you can get less side effects and give it whole body results. And vagina, in that case, is like our superpower. Men have to inject testosterone, but we don't have to do the injections all the time. If we have a vagina, we can take advantage of this delivery route, which we've known for a long time, decades, actually, since the 60s, that this is a very effective way to get something into the body. And millions of women prove it every day with birth control. Actually, those rings, we know that
Yeah.
they're systemic. So we've
Yeah.
known for a long time.
Yeah.
But this is
But
why
it
it's beneficial. And it also has progesterone and estrogen in it in the right ratio. And women need to know that they're not only is the way you take the hormone important, but you want them in the right amounts so that the ratio is in the right amount. If you have too much testosterone, you could get bloated, have acne, hair loss, gain weight. If you have too much estrogen, you might feel a little bit crazy, right? But if your progesterone needs to be the most abundant hormone. And when you do this and then put estrogen and testosterone in about the right amount, the same amount, then you're going to feel best.
So talk about Oestra because that's what I've been doing, and that's what Inner Balance does or uses, but there's not testosterone in it.
Right.
So when you say when you have testosterone, do you suggest women take testosterone separately?
The problem with taking testosterone separately is that you can get a lot of side effects. So yes,
Right.
testosterone is really important for women, just like estrogen is really important for men. Estrogen is heart protective for them. It helps them lose weight. It protects their skin. So we need it too for other reasons. Testosterone, we need it for libido and mental clarity, and like they all work together. It's an ecosystem. The estrogen, progesterone, testosterone work together. But the problem is when you try to put testosterone on your skin, it converts right to DHT, which makes your hair shed. Most women do get hair shedding when they try it that way. When you inject testosterone, it converts right to estrogen. And that can make you feel pretty off if you don't have it balanced correctly. And then pellets can get really high. And the problem with like a pellet is that women will feel great initially. So they just keep pushing that level up higher and higher. And a year later, you have acne, hair shedding, weight gain, and you're spiraling because your testosterone's too high. And so when we can't treat women like men, we need to treat women in their own way. And you see providers doing the same thing that they do for men, for women, or just give her testosterone, I see women who get labs from their providers and they don't even get an estrogen or progesterone level or an FSH. All they get is a testosterone.
Testosterone, yep.
She's not a tiny man. Like we're not tiny
Mhm.
men. So the issue is like, how do you raise your testosterone by letting your body regulate it? My testosterone, my optimal level might be higher or lower than yours, or, our friends might just be different. And so allowing the body to dictate and say what the right amount is, then you're going to have less side effects. Like you'll keep your hair and you won't get acne and your skin
So
will.
how do you do that?
So your progesterone actually converts to testosterone. Your body can convert it.
That's insane.
It's insane
Like,
because it's so
I
simple. I think
I
people
told my doctor that, and he was like, "That's not true."
it's so simple that doctors almost don't believe it, that it could be so
Yeah.
simple.
He literally was like, "That's not true." And that's why Oestra is so powerful because you're getting your estrogen and progesterone, and then your body makes the right amount of testosterone as a result.
Yeah, and if you're like, "Hey, want it to be just a little bit I wanna feel what it's like to have more testosterone," then you can take some herbs or something very subtle to raise it and then see how you feel. Maybe you're not gonna like it as much as you think you do, or maybe you love it, but at least you're in control instead of like.
Huge, huge. And that's what I've learned through you, that's what women learn through Inner Balance, and it's so important because now it's like you literally have this, like, weight off of your shoulders with this black box being taken off where you like, there's still gonna be education and helping people to understand, but this, like, fear-mongering gets to be gone now. But when I went to my doctor and I was like, "So I've decided to switch over to Oestra, I've been on it for about 6 months." It was so interesting, Sarah, I told you this, that he was like I said, "Do you know it?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah." A and we were like, "No, he doesn't." Like, he doesn't just know it because this isn't like what every doctor can prescribe. He can't right now. And he wanted me on his own. So he was trying to convince me not to stay on that and that he would give me a patch and something else and I was like, "Why would he do that?" And your answer was money.
Well, doctors know what they know. And I mean, I think expectations need to be aligned too. Like women can't expect their doctors to know everything. If you go to an OBGYN, they deliver babies, they're surgeons. I'm not a
I know,
surgeon,
but I expected to know about my hormones.
but they don't. But I think women just also need to be like, hey, doctors don't know everything. And when they don't feel like they know everything and they feel defensive, it looks like they're people too, and they feel like they should know, then they start backing up. And they're going to offer what they do know, which could be a patch and a pill in his case, or it could be a pellet in another doctor's case. they just tend to fall back on what they know, and that's what they're going to offer you. And it can be because they also want you as a patient, and doctors make money. They make money too. I mean, other people, and that's their livelihood. So if they can bring you back and get labs every 3 months, they're going to. And if they can, it's a way that, and it's nothing, it's okay. That's how they have to generate income, but they don't need to do that. And they don't have to feel defensive when they don't know about hormones. They can just say, I don't know, go to a specialist. They can turn you away. That's okay too.
Yeah, 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 but I do think it's like we do have to be so much more of a informed consumer to be able to ask the right questions. I mean, I know a lot, and I was intimidated when I was like he's like, "That's not true. Like, you don't make your own testosterone." And I'm like, "Yeah, but Sarah told me it was."
Well, and then he Googled it later and he was like, I guess that's true. You just literally, if you just Google it, the conversion pathway's there, the enzymes are there. We have the capacity to make it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and men do it too. Like you give them progesterone, they make testosterone. So, and you can verify it with labs. So even if you can see that our clients are all fall in a normal range. Is it
yep.
elevated? No, it never gets elevated on, which is the beautiful thing too. It's going to be within that 10 to 30 normal range on Olestra.
Yeah, it's just absolutely incredible. So, big news, and Sarah, thank you so much for just jumping on, like, come on, let's talk about this. This is is so important because I think so many women don't know, and I trust you, and therefore they can trust you and actually get really excited about this. And I know that this is something I'll be working on with my girls well before they're on menopause, and I just don't even feel like I have to like even worry about the conversation or justify it because this has been released, and at least it just takes off that like kind of a little bit of doubt that probably people have, even if they've heard from you or heard from me about this. I think that this is just such an important next step in women's health. So everybody needs to stay tuned for more information. But where can people find you and follow you, because you do so much education, so everybody needs to follow you to learn more?
They can go to Inner Balance MD, and then this is our Instagram, and we do try to put a lot of information on there. So even if you're just learning about it, go there, or the website has a lot of information too at www.innerbalance.com. And you can also ask us questions. We have a chat and a customer service team. If you do have questions, you can find out more there too.
And you do like webinars every week with Inner Balance and just constantly educating women. So I think if there's anything you take from this, it's really about education matters. And you are really truly the boss of your own body. And just because, your doctor is telling you one thing doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't keep digging. And just having this black box label taken off is a really good indication that you know, uh,
Okay.
there's an evolution to what we have been told.
The FDA is no longer asleep at the wheel. That they're really just kind of catching up to that science and acknowledging it. And even the acknowledgement is huge for women to be acknowledging that.
It really is. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. Sarah, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.